Hi all, before we start this video, a quick disclaimer. I wrote and recorded this video script already quite a while ago, and just recently the awesome DLC with new bubbly Basin region released. But that DLC came also with an update that solved the cross-region usage of storage boxes I had and still mentioned in this video. So at that time it was still there, but now it's fixed. So with that out of the way, let's get to the video.
Surprise, motherfucker!
What do you get if you take a big mixing pot and put games in it such as Minecraft, Viva Pinata, Animal Crossing, Pal World and Pokémon? Well, obviously you get Pokémon Pokopia. And to be honest, I had my doubts about this game and it wasn't really on my list, as I was not sure if this was really for me. Because out of the 5 games I just mentioned, I dislike 1, never played 2, think 1 is kind of cool but more out of nostalgia, and I really like just 1. But I still got to play it because the curiosity got the better of me, and just to be quick about it, I'm hooked. Let me tell you more about it. In Pokémon Pokopia you play as a Ditto that is able to transform into a human. You wake up in a world that is abandoned, lifeless, almost wasteland-like landscape where you do meet a Tangrowth. And this Tangrowth is not just a Tangrowth, but a professor that immediately sees what you are capable of and therefore explains to you that this world used to be full of Pokemon and humans living there. And together you set out to recover the world in order to make it a great world to live in again for both Pokemon and humans. In order to do that, you set out to complete a numerous amount of quests and side quests, all to make the Pokemon come back, so that humans will hopefully follow soon after. You do this in multiple regions where you rebuild environments, infrastructures and buildings such as Pokemon centers and houses. And although the story is told in a very sugar-coated way, which is a bit too childish sometimes, I enjoyed it a lot, and all the various quests, side quests and stuff to do in all different regions gave me enough premise to keep going.
Stupid, what am I for?
The gameplay is all about building and collecting Pokemon, but collecting Pokemon is not done in the typical way you are used to. In Pokémon Pokopia you need to restore environments by building or creating them with various items or with the handy powers you have as a Ditto. For example, some Pokemon live in grass, so with the powers you learn from other Pokemon such as growing grass or watering it, you can create those environments. These environments, when fully fulfilled, will lure Pokemon who can live there. This is very similar to Viva Pinata, a game in which you also needed to lure the creatures towards your garden by fulfilling in their desires for a nice place to live. But all Pokemon have their own powers as well. Scyther, for example, can help to cut wooden logs into lumber, fire Pokemon can use flames to heat melting ovens, which helps to create building materials, etc. Some resources and some things are a bit slow to gather, but all in all it's well balanced. The more environments you discover, the more Pokemon you discover and the more items you unlock. The building is also a lot like Minecraft, in which you can destroy and replace certain elements in the world and it's all built up in squares. This way you can create paths, items and so on. There's a small negative I have with this part of the gameplay, since sometimes the game is a bit imprecise where it places things or which squares you demolish, for example, which sometimes can be a bit annoying. And sometimes Pokemon stand in your way in such a manner you cannot interact with an interaction point, which is quite annoying as well. But the building is also about gathering materials and put your Pokemon to work, for example when building houses. This is where the Pal World and Animal Crossing parts come in. Just like Pal World, the Pokemon work for you, by building stuff or creating resources. They are just a bit faster when happy, and this can be done by improving the quality of their living environments. Sometimes they want toys, or a bed, or some food, and this way you create a nicer world, which gives you more and more items for sale at the shop as well. But just like in Pal World, Pokemon work for you, although here it's all just a bit friendlier and you don't have the idea of them being kind of slaves for you.
Get back to work!
When building stuff and creating resources it all takes real time, so sometimes you need to come back another day when it's finished. Also each day there are new challenges and things to find, just like in Animal Crossing. So like I said in the intro, Animal Crossing, Pal World, Viva Pinata, Minecraft and of course Pokemon.
Well, duh.
And this gameplay, albeit simple and slow in its core, is very addicting, and till this day I keep coming back just to build, gather resources and improve the environments. It still doesn't bore me, although I must say that I am a bit annoyed by the loading times in between different regions and by the fact that you cannot store items in your item box cross-region. Because of this, you continuously travel between various regions because certain usable items, resources or Pokemon are in a different region. But the loading times are annoyingly long sometimes, and also, since your backpack is very small, especially in the beginning, you will store a lot of items in storage boxes. But as said, those won't work cross-region, and since you store a lot of items in different boxes, you will lose track of what was stored where, meaning you are traveling from region to region, which means loading times. Just to check all the boxes, hoping to find the item you need is in one of them.
One eternity later.
The presentation is just fine. Just as with all Pokemon games, it has a certain style to it which is not ugly but also not groundbreaking. Although it's not as buggy and doesn't have the technical issues that Legend ZA had, for example. The music is as always very Pokemon, so very good, and as already mentioned, my only problem with the game on the technical side are the loading times. But also here, the extra mile wasn't taken again, so no spoken dialogue but text balloons. And I know the main characters here are Pokemon, so this game was the least obvious one to take this step, but still, it ain't there. Pokémon Pokopia is awesome and for me a big surprise because I did not expect to like it so much. It's not perfect, as mentioned with the things I encountered earlier, but those are very small things that weigh for sure not as heavy as the positives, especially with the addictive gameplay. So I consider Pokémon Pokopia a must play and give it a 9.1. And with that, we come to the end of this review. What did you think of Pokémon Pokopia? Let me know in the comments, and also don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked the video, that helps my channel immensely. For live gameplay you can visit my Twitch, twitch.tv/gameplayofj, and don't forget to follow me there too. For more content, check the suggestions on the left or the channel on the right. For now, thanks for watching, see you in the next video, bye!